Logan Paul and KSI managed to completely fool the entire world. And thanks to them doing so, they managed to become billionaires. Every single second, 16 bottles of Prime were sold across the world back in 2023, which roughly translates into 500 million bottles every single year. They sponsor the entire UFC, some of the biggest sports stars in the world, and multiple top tier sports clubs like the Dodgers and Arsenal, and probably also your favorite influencers. They are quite literally on top of the world right now. KSI has even admitted that in 2025 he's guaranteed to be worth 10 figures, or at least $1 billion.
My valuation is gonna be 10 next year probably.
Are you valued at over $1 billion now, do you think?
If I sold probably yeah.
Which alludes to him expecting to be worth probably even more than just that alone. And Logan has gone out and publicly stated that in January of last year alone, the company made $45 million.
In January of this year, we did 45 million.
Some basic maths would mean that in an average year, they're earning $540 million before their expenses. Split between the two of them, they're taking home $270 million each. But what if I told you that this is all a lie? Don't get me wrong, the numbers are all real. Prime really does sell millions of bottles per week. And both Logan and KSI are absolutely billionaires thanks to this. But the two of them aren't the only ones getting filthy rich off of this. And that's all because the company isn't actually even theirs to begin with. And the entire story they've told the world time and time again over the years has all been a complete fake. Sure, some bits here and there might be true, but this has all been one massive facade for the cameras and social media. Logan and KSI never really liked each other, as they were both at a point in time the biggest YouTuber from each continent. Logan was from the United States and has over 23 million subscribers, while KSI was from the United Kingdom and has over 16 million subscribers. They seemed like a match made in heaven to work together, and when the YouTube boxing scene started blowing up, the two of them quickly became the biggest stars there were. And from that point forward, it didn't take long for them to go on a collision course toward each other to determine who the real number one was. KSI vs Logan Paul was a massive pay-per-view event. It made over $3 million in ticket sales alone, and there were even 2.25 million people watching the fight live from around the world, with reports even assuming that over 1 million of these people watched the fight illegally. The two of them went the distance, and thanks to some notorious deductions and illegal punches, the fight was ruled as a draw by the majority of the judges. So what now? Well, why wouldn't they fight again? This would just mean they now have a certified reason to do it all over again, and nobody would ever question them. That is, at least if you believe that the fight was never set up to be a draw from the start anyways. But this time around there were even more eyeballs in the fight. This time KSI came out as the winner in a clear-cut way, and the two would bury the hatchet.
Alright.
However, they both realize that the amount of money they can make when working together is so much bigger than when they work alone. So, what does Logan Paul decide to do? He calls KSI and the two of them go on a journey to develop a hydration drink together.
We have created our own drink company. Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, Prime Hydration. We are officially business partners. We are no longer rivals, and we've created a hydration beverage called Prime Hydration to rival some of the biggest companies on earth.
Yes.
Pepsi, Coke, Gatorade, Powerade.
We're against literally all the big companies. So us little guys doing our YouTube thing, or boxes.
They drop the flavors they both like and look for production centers around the US to start producing their small drink company together. As KSI just said, they are the little guys competing with the giants like Pepsi and Coca-Cola. But see, that's where the lie all happens. What if I told you that this isn't how the story played out at all? See, Prime is not owned by KSI or Logan Paul. They didn't start the company or even thought of the flavors. The two of them are simply the face of an already existing brand. You could almost call them glorified ambassadors. And they do an incredible job of marketing it to their audience.
We have created
Our own
drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We want Prime! We want Prime! Ladies and gentlemen, we got Prime!
And to be completely honest, they probably will keep pretending like they do own it for as long as they possibly can. while the actual owners of Prime are called Congo Brands, which is a sports hydration drink company from Louisville in Kentucky. And this is owned by a man named Max Clemens and his partner Trey Steiger. And KSI and Logan own just 20% of Prime each, making them minority shareholders compared to the real founders. And Congo Brands is not new at all to this entire game. This shouldn't come as a surprise, but Prime isn't even their first attempt at creating a billion-dollar drinks company with influencers. They used to own an energy drink brand called Alani Nu, which was linked to one of the biggest stars on TikTok back in the day with almost 90 million followers called Addison Rae. But their plans with Addison wouldn't last long. Congo Brands was a smaller company at this time and they had a lot of learning left to do. While trying to expand the drink into Canada, they would run into issues with regulations and ended up getting involved in a lawsuit, even coming as far as being flagged as an unsafe drink in Canada by their local government, with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency flagging Alani Nu as under warning for consumption by their citizens. The real reason for this was because their bottles and nutrition values weren't properly translated in French, which is required by law in Canada, but also because the amount of caffeine each can contain was too high for consumption. This made it so they had to change directions, and two YouTubers coming freshly off of a boxing fight was the perfect opportunity for them. Which got even better because this allowed them to not make the same mistakes twice and use all of the lessons they learned from Alani Nu for their new project in Prime. And you can tell, Prime is flawless in everything they do. It took them under a year to take over the entire US and just another year to take over the entire world. Prime is still being sold for $10 a bottle on secondary markets across Europe, where grocery stores cannot keep their drinks in stock. And even though both KSI and Logan are telling their fans to stop buying them until they can properly stock the stores, nobody's listening. Stores like Wakey Wines in the UK even started going viral for being one of the only stores to keep Prime in stock. All of this while selling the drinks at ridiculous prices of up to £100 a bottle. And they are absolutely proud of it, showing off videos where their customers are paying £145 for 6 bottles of Prime. The sad part is that most of these sales are coming from parents whose children don't want anything but to try their favorite influencer's new drink. So thanks to the pressure that's being put onto them, they cave in and pay their hard-earned pounds to make their kids happy. And how could their kids possibly resist? Prime sponsors everybody. No matter where you're from, there's a high chance that your favorite celebrity is already sponsored by Prime. In April of 2024, Prime officially announced sponsoring YouTube's biggest streamer, IShowSpeed. And if it's not him, it's probably your favorite football or basketball player or team. Super Bowl champion Tyreek Hill joined Team Prime in the same month. Even the Los Angeles Lakers became part of the Prime family just a month earlier, and another NFL superstar, Patrick Mahomes, joined them in December of 2023, along with Manchester City star striker Erling Haaland and the entire franchise of the NBA's Toronto Raptors. They even tried to grow outside of just sports and influencers. Prime now sponsors the Rubik's Cube World Champion, WWE superstars in the entire sport of mixed martial arts by partnering with the UFC. Prime is literally everywhere, and they're showing no signs of slowing down. At this point, it seems like they're releasing new limited edition flavors every single month, and each release simply keeps selling out. If it's up to them, there's no way Prime won't keep growing until infinity. But what if it's not up to them whether they continue growing? Since their creation, Prime has been getting accused of being unhealthy due to their ingredients. Like when health and fitness YouTuber More Plates More Dates put out a nearly 40-minute video dismantling the ingredient list of the drinks and highlighting just how bad they can be for you, even claiming that it's worse for you than tap water. And he wasn't the only one. Tons of health-based creators like doctors and personal trainers would come out claiming that Prime was actually harming the people drinking it. And both Logan and KSI have managed to swat all of these rumors away, by short replies and by not giving them too much attention. Logan even went as far as to call More Plates More Dates a quote stupid virgin for speaking out against Prime, which didn't go over well at all with most of the internet. But this past April of 2024, things actually got serious for the first time. Prime would end up getting sued for $5 million in a public health case on behalf of US residents over them containing multiple poisonous chemicals that could even lead to an increased chance in their consumers contracting diseases. They're primarily being accused of containing so-called forever chemicals, better known as PFA chemicals. And this pretty much means that they are nearly impossible to be degraded by nature, and with that also our bodies. This is exactly why they also tend to stay in your body forever and then keep multiplying over time the more you keep consuming of them. And on top of this, once again, just like earlier in Canada with Alani Nu, an overly high amount of caffeine in their products. According to Logan, none of this is true, and the products are completely safe, and he claims that they have zero evidence of what they claim in their lawsuit.
They're claiming that Prime has 0.06 ppt, parts per trillion. But that's interesting because the EPA says that anything under 1.1 ppt cannot be deemed as reasonably accurate, meaning they don't have the right tools or resources to even prove what they're claiming.
It looks like Logan manages to explain their case pretty well, and it might even be true, but even after all of this, the internet is not happy. The taste is miserable, bro. I don't know how they sell so many of these. Who else has never drank Prime and probably never will? Prime dehydrates you and tastes terrible. I would bet there are forever chemicals in it. Prime isn't off the hook yet, and these are just a few in a long list of negative replies and an increase in poor reviews and accusation that they may never recover from.